This is not a black thing. This is a you thing. This is a you thing, Eric Adams. This is not a black thing. Your policies are anti-black. You are a disgrace to all black people.
Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the page. Now, I have told y'all about Senator Raphael Warnock before.
Where a Florida man called into Georgia and said, I need 11,870 votes.
And I, for one, am grateful because so often when I am at a loss for words, he always comes through with exactly what needed to be said.
It's white supremacy in blackface.
I can think of a couple examples.
Saying that this is not a black thing. This is not a black thing. This is a you thing. This is a you thing, Eric Adams. This is not a black thing. Your policies are anti-black. You are a disgrace to all black people in this city. The things that you have done are unconscionable. You hurt our schools. Our streets are dirty. Our children are harassed by the police. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. You can shush me all you want, but the people are with us. And this is not a black thing. This is a justice thing.
First of all, I want to thank you for being here this morning.
It's white supremacy in blackface.
How about another one?
As speculated, we were able to confirm that Kamala's black grandmother that she showed us in that picture died in 1960, before Kamala was born. I can show you right now her death certificate.
It's white supremacy in blackface.
How about another one?
Forget all of things that she said. People, go back and watch her body language. When she talked about her niece, she's looking at Dana Bash. She's smiling. She looks relaxed. But when you ask her about her policies and the flip-flopping, she's looking down. She's looking small. She doesn't look like she has confidence in what she's saying because she doesn't believe it.
It's white supremacy in blackface.
Ooh, I got one more.
A few moments later. A few moments later. A few moments later.
It's white supremacy in blackface.
Now, all of those need to be addressed, but one is going to be addressed right now. Janet Jackson, what was you thinking? Huh? I just need to know. I just need to know, what was you thinking? Like, I'm not even saying that you have to be on the blue side of the wall. What I am saying is, what made you think that you could speak out about something as consequential as our presidential election with information that you didn't even use technology for? Like, you didn't use no electronics. It's no way it's no way a computer or a phone or an iPad was used in you attaining that information. It's just no way. Because if there's any way it was, you would have known immediately.
Mm-hmm. For her to just be drifting through the world and not have any sort of idea of what's happening with this situation, but then offer an opinion that is completely uneducated,
right,
and completely wrong, and say that she hasn't watched the news in a couple of days, as if Kamala Harris could be black on Monday or white on Monday or Indian on Monday and then black on Thursday or Friday.
Now, I'm not going to do you the way the internet did you. Although that was hilarious. I'll be honest, that was hilarious. One thing that we can say for sure is the definition of black has been sufficiently stretched within your kin. But why that would make you think that wouldn't also include Jamaicans makes the least amount of sense. Then you go and apologize for going with information you heard from the dude that was pumping gas when your tour bus was low outside of Omaha. You gonna go ahead and apologize for that, but then you fire the person who actually tried to clean it up for you. So let me get this straight. It's your team's fault that you don't have better sense not to go publicly with information about a presidential candidate that you heard from a dude with a filthy nameplate. Like, is that really what happened?
It's white supremacy in blackface.
I ain't been this mad at her since Poetic Justice. I mean, really, because we didn't get a whole lot of Tupac performances. And she just completely ruined what could have been his tour de force. But I also want to make this clear. The idea that you hold somebody else responsible for information that you felt confident in going with publicly, challenging someone's blackness. Hey, Senator Warnock.
It's white supremacy in blackface.
If I have ever heard it. Now, you probably do want to get the context of that whole comment, and you'll enjoy it.
I'm very concerned, Jen. All of us should remember that famous phone call, a man from Florida calling into Georgia saying he needed 11,780 votes. Mm-hmm. He didn't get it. And apparently these members of the State Board of Elections, whom he called pit bulls, who are out there doing his bidding and trying to create a scenario in which they can declare by fiat who the winner of Georgia is. Listen, I've seen this up close. You know, I've won in Georgia 2 elections. My name's been on the ballot 5 times in less than 3 years. They saw the anatomy of my win during my first election, how we won in the runoff. And so going into the runoff this last time, I had to sue the state officials of Georgia just so that Georgia voters could vote that first weekend of the runoff. This is how voter suppression happens.
Listen to what this man just said. He, in trying to run for office, had to distract himself from connecting with voters, hearing what it is, in fact, they want, and sue in order to make sure that people could vote for him when they started heading to the polls. Tell me what part of will of the people is that?
Undermine votes a little bit here, a little bit there. The news that Georgia voters ought to be paying attention to is this. The fact that they are doing this means that they know we're winning. They know that the momentum is with Kamala Harris, and this effort to turn the democracy on its head so that rather than the voters picking their representatives, the folks who are running it to pick their voters, it won't stand. We're going to be vigilant in court, and we're going to turn our people out.
Preach! Preach! The man just said, as opposed to voters picking their representative, you have certain representatives picking their voters. That is a bar. Also, him asserting that the reason why these efforts are intensifying is because they scared. Oh yeah, they big scared. Cause I ain't never complained about the refs after a game we won. Or winning for that matter. I'm blowing somebody else. I don't care what they call. Unless it's that Ravens-Cowboys game. They tried to take that away. I saw it. Don't you steal our joy laughing at Cowboys fans.
There are a couple of Republicans in the state of Georgia who have expressed concern about what could happen here. A lawyer for Brad Raffensperger, the state attorney general. Now, you know best if those are just words or if they'd actually take actions. If they wanted to prevent this from happening, what could they do?
Well, I think we need to see more action from the state officials here. And yes, I'm paying attention because, again, I've been through this history. But the fact that you have county officials, both Democrats and Republicans, saying that this is a mess, saying that we can't do what you're asking us to do, saying that this insisting on counting votes by hand is not only going to delay our ability to certify, but it certainly, the data shows it doesn't increase accuracy, it decreases accuracy.
Now that is an interesting thought. The idea that hand counting, especially hand counting in the hands of people that have proven themselves to be nakedly partisan, would actually be less accurate than, the computers and electronics that we have spent decades developing because of the limitations of human beings. What a novel concept! Also for you, Janet Jackson, that's a novel concept, especially for you. You should use electronics.
Look, I'm old enough to remember Florida in 2000. And we all saw we all saw the mess that was, and we don't need that here again in Georgia. So we will continue to press the issue. But I want to be clear for the folks who are watching me this morning. The whole purpose of voter suppression really is to so demoralize the electorate or parts of the electorate that you don't even bother. And for those who are watching and are wondering, well, what can I do about this? I'll tell you what you can do. You can show up. You can show up and say you're not going to squeeze my voice out of the democracy, that I have a right to cast my vote and for my vote to be counted. And showing up in massive numbers, that's the way you respond.
And Senator Warnock is actually echoing something that Kamala mentioned in her comments in the DNC. We knew this kind of stuff was coming because we know that they were going to get worried. We know we had a movement, and we know they're prone to scurred. So we know they're going to try whatever it is that they could possibly grasp for in order to hold on to power. We need to soldier on.
I want to ask you about something else that may sound familiar to you, which is Trump aligning himself with a person who should have been disqualified from running for office. And that is, who I'm going to ask you about, Mark Robinson, the Republican nominee for governor in North Carolina.
Just look at the look. Just look at the look on Warnock's face. Just look at the look of what he looked like. He's scolding somebody in the back of the church. Just forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do.
Republican nominee for governor in North Carolina, and especially the ways, given your background and your history and your current role as a religious leader, in which Dr. Martin Luther King's name has come up in this whole scandal. I mean, in addition to everything else, CNN found that Robinson made a series of posts denigrating Dr. King, calling him a commie bastard, calling him an offensive slur. As you well know, Donald Trump once referred to Robinson as Martin Luther King on steroids. You will actually stand today at the same pulpit where Martin Luther King preached. You have a long history in the state of Georgia. I just want to know what you make of all of this and how they're talking about his legacy.
Now, just imagine you are Raphael Warnock. You have spent your life in the church. You spent your life in the community, and you are blessed to be given the pulpit that was once graced by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And you have to hear a man who was president put that moniker on Mark Robinson. Oh, I'm sorry, Mini Soldier. You have to hear him call Mini Soldier Martin Luther King on steroids or Martin Luther King ×2. Like, I react to the absurdity of it, but if that has been your life's work to ascend to that position, I think we got to throw hands. Or at the very least, I'm taking your water tower and your compression V-neck. You gonna come up off of both of those.
I can tell you as the pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church, where Martin Luther King Jr. served, that Mark Robinson is no Martin Luther King Jr. He is the antithesis of everything that Dr. King represented. He is white supremacy in blackface.
Now let's break this down. Is he opposed to us attaining equal rights? Does he have a problem with the civil rights movement? Check. Has he advocated for a return to slavery? Check. You know what? Let's go ahead and add in, is he opposed to anything that brings black people joy, be it Beyonce or Black Panther? Check and check. Well, you know what? White supremacy also comes with a little misogyny as well. Is he anti-women? Check. And they certainly aren't down with the gays. Check. Does he call himself a black Nazi? Check. You can't be any more white supremacist than calling yourself a black Nazi.
As he talks about his desire to bring slavery back. I mean, this talk is way beyond the pale. And I think that the people of North Carolina need to take note of the fact that this is Donald Trump's candidate. This is who he keeps pushing and encouraging. This is who he thinks should represent them.
And keep in mind, it's still Donald Trump's candidate. He has refused to disavow Mark Robinson. Oh, I'm gonna go down with this ship.
But Donald Trump has a long history of this. He tried this in my race. Mm-hmm. This is not the first time he has put forward a black candidate who is unfit and unqualified to serve, with this cynical notion that somehow the electorate will be confused.
Do y'all want a reminder? Huh? Let me go ahead and give y'all a reminder.
You can support police officers, as I've done, through the COPS program, through the Invest to Protect program, while at the same time holding police officers, like all professions, accountable. One thing I have not done, I've never pretended to be a police officer, and I've never threatened a shootout with the police.
Well, and now I have to respond to that.
We are moving on,
I
gentlemen.
have to respond to that. And you know what's so funny? I am with many police officers, and at the same time,
Mr. Walker, Mr. Walker, excuse me, Mr. Walker. Please, out of respect, I need to let you know, Mr. Walker, you are very well aware of the rules tonight.
Yes.
And you have a prop.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
I am with many police officers. I am with many police officers. I am with many police officers.
What do you mean by that?
That somehow the electorate will be confused about who this person represents. The people of North Carolina deserve better. They've got real issues that they're trying to address, and they're going to see through Mark Robinson just in the same way that the people of Georgia saw through my opponent.
Now let's go ahead and break this down. Raphael Warnock is pointing out the fact that it is very common and routine for them to put forth black candidates that are unqualified because they mistakenly think that the electorate won't be able to tell the difference. Tell me how you really feel about black people that they wouldn't be able to tell the difference between Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker.
We, in America, have some of the cleanest air and cleanest water of anybody in the world. So what we do is we're going to put from the Green New Deal millions or billions of dollars cleaning our good air up. So all of a sudden China and India ain't putting nothing in there cleaning that situation up. So all that bad air is still there. But since we don't control the air, our good air decided to float over to China, bad air. So when China gets our good air, their bad air gotta move. So it moves over to our good air space. And now we gotta clean that back up.
It also explains his obsession with Kamala Harris's race. Because if you are of the opinion that, they can't really tell the difference who's who, it doesn't matter, they'll just vote for her because she's black, then obviously, as opposed to attacking her based on, policy, you attack her based on her race. Because in your mind, that is the only thing you could possibly do to try and siphon away some of those black votes.
Donald Trump said that if he loses in November, the Jewish people, these are his words, to your point, the Jewish people would have a lot to do with the loss. To me, it sounds like he's setting up Jewish Americans to be scapegoats. It's incredibly divisive. You're a religious leader. What was your reaction to that? And what do you want people out there to know when they hear divisive comments like that?
Well, it's an old anti-Semitic trope that he was using, ironically, at an event, supposedly to address the problem of anti-Semitism. It just shows you the ways in which Donald Trump is out of touch. And I met with Jewish leaders, a group of Jewish leaders, this past Friday, and they were just shaking their heads because this is an old ploy, an old trope of accusing Jewish folk that somehow they're behind the scenes, pulling strings, doing things. This is who Donald Trump is. He's got so much bigotry, so much anti-Semitism, so much racism, so much misogyny in his heart that it comes out. You know, forgive me, I'm on my way to church. Jesus said that, you know, what's in you will come out.
You know, that makes a whole lot of sense. It just comes out. You wonder, like, why would he say that? How could he say it? Just comes out. It just comes out his pores. You know, he just gets flustered, and just the racism just be popping out. You know what I mean? Like it's got nowhere else to go.
And here we're watching his words demonstrate time and time again who he is. We know who Donald Trump is. This election is about who we are as an American people. And I still believe in the American promise, e pluribus unum, out of many one. I still believe that God is known by many names, worshipped in many houses. I believe in this democracy, this experiment where people of various faith traditions and people who claim no faith at all but operate from a place of moral courage and basic dignity and decency can build a greater country, a beloved community, as Dr. King called it, and push us closer towards our ideals. We're not going back. And we're going to send this 78-year-old retired president quietly into the night and move forward into the future.
Preach, Pastor, preach! I'm staying for the late service. Anybody want to go to IHOP? I got some time in between. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I especially want to thank those of you that have been emailing me at reese@reesewaters.com. I do look at it, and I wanted to say I've taken a number of suggestions. Just in the past week, I think half the videos were suggested from emails that I received from you guys, so keep them coming. And just because I may not be able to respond doesn't mean that I don't see it, and it doesn't mean that it's not impactful, because the email and the feedback that I get from you guys shapes my perception of the people that are consuming my content. So it really does impact the direction that we take moving forward. So just because I may not respond to your email doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. So thank you guys very much. Of course, we have the website, reesewaters.com. There's some new merch on the website as well, so be on the lookout for that. And by the way, if you get some merch, if you get a shirt or hat or whatever the case may be, send me a photo of yourself with it. Maybe put in the title merch pick or something like I could think of a way better subject title. Those of you that have signed up for my newsletter, use the portal on my website. I appreciate you guys for doing that. There'll be a new newsletter that is going out shortly, and in it will be updates on channel membership. That's right, something that you guys have been mentioning to me for a long time. We're finally on the precipice of it, so you can get all the details and the membership. Again, you can sign up on my website or send me an email at reese@reesewaters.com. There is so much on the horizon, and I, for one, am extremely grateful that you're along with me on this ride.